Just realized I had my headphone volume up, but I think the game volume was down. Right, so the sound volume for the intro music. All right, let's see how we did here. Yeah, left that down a little bit. It's not too bad. It's just the intro. What's going on? How you doing? It's what is today? Well, today's Tuesday. Man, I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's because of New Year's. Everything just seems a bit off. Right? We're in the Mac Anthem 48. We've got our this is our is this our belt? Yeah, I don't know. This is my favorite trailer, I think, because of the paint. It's my favorite truck, my favorite trailer. We just loaded up with wood shavings. I don't know, something. And we're headed to Yuma, Arizona. Yeah, this is what I'm talking about. Everything seems scattered, you know? Everything seems a bit off. I think we need to sleep, but this trip is over 1,000 miles, so we would inevitably have to sleep on the way anyway. Here we go. Yeah, how's everybody doing? I think 2021, it's what, the 5th of January. I wouldn't say that 2021 is like a disappointment, but I do think we built it up. Or at least I did. Maybe you didn't, but I feel like I did. It's like we built it up to be so much better than 2020. And we've barely had a chance to see what 2021 is going to be like, but it's just, I don't know. It's not that it's a letdown. I feel like we're just in a lull. Right through here. And I think so many places either going back on lockdown or going into a more strict lockdown. Maybe that was something else that we kind of set ourselves up for. We thought somehow, magically, wake up on the 1st and the COVID will be gone, but it is definitely still here. So what else can we, you know what we can do? We can sim game. That's what we can do. We can sim game. This is a very stale green. Yeah, I didn't think so. And this is also a weird time for gaming. I think because so many people are, don't have to go to reverse. I think because people are still traveling, still getting back to wherever home is. Make a right turn here. We could have. Now we can't. Because people are still traveling and because offices are a bit goofy this time of year. There's no other way to say it. Business is just always kind of weird this time of year. Till about the 14th of January, in my experience. Green light here. I'm just going. There we go. So everybody's a little bit out of sorts. We're all hungover from 2020. Maybe that's a good way to say it. So it's going to be a minute till things get back to normal. Bad. I don't know what is going on with the channel. I really don't. We absolutely climbed straight up to 950, and we are frozen here. I'm seeing net growth per month of 0, starting about, right about the time we got to 950. It's really making me wonder, because YouTube it's more or less unregulated, right? YouTube can do whatever they want, and they do. It is completely one-sided. It does make me wonder, because when I get to 1,000, I can monetize. I'm not going to. Channel's always going to be ad-free. Never going to run ads. So I can monetize when I get to 1,000, but I'm not going to. But I feel like that is when Google would need to start possibly paying me. And again, it's not... When you switch from 999 subs to 1,000, it's not like you suddenly start making money. You might be making $1 a week. So it's not a huge amount of money. But you multiply that by the millions and millions and millions of people that have YouTube accounts, and it could add up to, for Alphabet, Google, YouTube, right? To that corporate entity, that could add up to tens of millions of dollars per week. So I really do feel like they've moved the goalposts, and they've got me flattened out just below 1,000. It's like they're gonna test me. They're gonna see how hard I'm willing to work and how much money I'm willing to make for them before I'm making any for myself. Little do they know, I have no intention of making money with this. Strictly a hobby. Now, if I did, I wouldn't turn it down, but I'm not going to run ads. I hate ads. And I hate the fact that YouTube essentially blackmails you. Well, if you don't want ads, you could always pay. I mean, fair's fair. Business is business. I like capitalism. But seeing the same ridiculous, I don't know, manga, smartphone games, and yeah, it's just I don't understand it. I don't get it. So I have no intention of bringing that to the channel. But at this point, like I said, they're holding me up, so I don't know if I'll ever get there anyway. Now, what else is going on? Nothing. Just continuing to work on X-Plane, continuing to build out X-Plane, and explore the rotate. I did another flight. After I got done with the flight 2 days ago, we flew from, where'd we fly? Grand Turk to Miami. I did another flight and sort of unmade all the mistakes that I made on the Grand Turk to Miami flight. And those would be, I didn't set our long trim properly before we left. So we died. We crashed. It was really unnerving. It kind of, you know, you get some goosebumps, because I think that sort of thing, that sort of mistake is how and why planes crash in real life. Even with takeoff config, because we did have a long trim set, we didn't get a config alarm when we did our throttle test. So according to the software, the plane was configured for takeoff, but we didn't have the correct trim put in. We had a trim value, and that's all the config alarm asks for. So putting in a trim value satisfied the config alarm, right? Toga power and straight into the ocean. And that sort of thing is exactly how planes crash in real life. So really kind of I mean, it's a video game, we just play it for fun, but that was a little bit, you know, kind of chilling for me to think that's, you know, someone has realized their life was going to end in another 15 or 20 seconds, and the reason why is because they forgot to do this, or they didn't do that properly. That has got to suck. So that was one mistake, and the other was we ended up way too high and way too fast. So I flew another approach. I flew Kennedy to Raleigh-Durham, KJFK to KRDU, and I noticed, so the last waypoint, right, so you put in your route first, and it was like 3 directs and then 1 via, right? And the final via ended at Sierra Whiskey Lima. Then you put in your departure and arrival. Departure was direct to Wavy out of Kennedy. That's no big deal. Just take off runway heading, turn 180 degrees, and fly to Wavy. But then when I was setting up the star, they wanted me on the, I think it was the Kiro. Hey, Ernie, how you doing? How's your day going? They wanted me on the, I think it's the Kiro 2 approach. And when I was looking for my transitions, I saw one for Sierra Whiskey Lima. So I want to be more attentive to that and see if there isn't, I guess, a more obvious way to link your last waypoint as your transition to the beginning of your approach. So I did that, and then I went back through and manually reconfigured a lot of speeds. So our speed was a lot lower once we got below 10,000 feet. And then just let the software fly us all the way down, and it took us right down. It is kind of a weird lollipop turn. I don't know if that's unique to the way Rotate set that plane up, or if that is, because everything about it is so accurate, I'm wondering if that sort of lollipop kind of speed bleed turn is not unique to the MD-80. But when we did that, I mean, it was close, because you're making your final turn onto the runway heading at, like, I don't know, 8 miles, and I would really rather be lined up with the runway heading like 12 or 15 miles out. So that's a little close for me. But we did make the turn. We did get on the runway heading. We were at the correct altitude and speed. And at about 5 miles, I came off autopilot and flew the manual landing. So we'll do another X-plane flight, I don't know, maybe next week sometime. I don't want to really stack them up too tight. I know X-plane doesn't seem to resonate with y'all the way some other sibs do, but I'm going to continue to expose you to it and hope you come around, because I really do love X-Plane. So that's been going on, and yeah, just buying more and more and more stuff for X-Plane. It's crazy. And also, you can get some of these services. There is an annual fee, super discount, and then some of them have like a lifetime unlimited. And depending on how long you plan to be a member, or right, like what you're going to do with the service, it stings a little bit. But I think those Platinum Pass lifetime membership deals, I mean, they make more sense economically if you plan to use the service a lot. So I want to avail myself to some of those. So yeah, that's all that's been going on. There's a new title update 12 dropped for Division 2. There is some new gear. I've been playing that a little bit. Everybody's asking where I am. Like, as soon as I got back on, well, no, I can't say as soon as I got back on. Maybe the second day I got back on. I saw some people that I played with before. They immediately brought me into their group, right? You can, like, lasso somebody and pull them into your group. They did, and they were asking me where I've been. Told them just playing other titles, playing other games, racing and flying primarily, and working on the stream. So they seemed happy to see me, and we've been rolling, and I've been, once again, grinding for gear. I think Division 2 is the grindiest game that I know. Probably because I've done so many of the missions so many times. Sir. Jesus. Sir. Ugh. I think Hunter Call of the Wild could get grindy. I want to be careful that it does not. But I think because you're out in nature and it seems a lot less scripted than Division 2, hopefully it doesn't get grindy. Well, maybe in the same amount of hours. When I've played Hunter Call of the Wild as many hours as I've played Division 2, maybe it will seem grindy, but hopefully not. And let's start. Yeah, here's a rest area. Let's go ahead and pull in here because I think, yep, our bar is full. So let's go ahead and pull in here. We'll sleep through the night, and that will... Is there a rest area here? Yes, there is. We'll sleep here, and then we can continue on. I don't know, how do we do this?
Go straight on.
Trucks and RVs and cars there. Okay. Interesting. I've not seen one like this before. Can we get into this one on the back here? Is this going to give us the trigger? Sure is. Okay. Let's pull right in here. Get down to neutral. Parking lights on. Windows down. Take a look from outside. I do love this truck. All right. Engine off. Sleep through the night. And then I guess as soon as we wake up tomorrow morning, we will... moment, please, while I put the windows up. Lights on. Wipers on. Hop back in here. Get rid of these. Don't need that. Brake is off. Back up a little bit here. And where's our... Yep, there's our trigger right there. I know there are grindy games that don't seem grindy, and I think that is really a skill on the part of developers. And I think some games are just so much fun that, I don't know, it is grinding, but it's not. It's just playing the game. I would say what Ubisoft is doing, because everything is moving toward Assassin's Creed. Am I still going to move to Twitch? Yeah. I'm just so busy lately. Past the inspection, 70,000 pounds. Here we go. I've just been so busy. I mean, it's not... I have a feeling it's going to be kind of a non-event, that I have it built up in my head to be a bigger deal than it is. Because I think, well, the way all this software is configured, I'm using XSplit now. I got off OBS. But it's already got all the APIs configured. Essentially, I just need to give it permission to access my Twitch account and then it's one button to go live. Same as YouTube is. When I'm ready to start streaming, I just press a button on my Stream Deck, and it opens the pre-window in XSplit. I type in all the information, name of the stream, put in the thumbnail, everything else, tap another button, and I'm live. So I'm guessing it will be a similar or identical procedure for Twitch. So it's really not that big a deal. I've kind of got it, like I said, built up in my mind. But as far as moving over, it's really whenever I'm ready. I think the thing is, and if you weren't here, the first part of the stream talking about how YouTube seems to have me sort of stalled, just under 1,000. I do feel like, you know, we don't self-promote at all. I don't self-promote at all on the channel, but I do feel like I've really been working hard to grow the channel and to move to Twitch. If I were to do split the streams, do one here and one on Twitch, that would be half the volume of streams on YouTube. And honestly, I'm a little bit worried about losing part of the audience if I'm not streaming as often. And I know streamers talk about that. I think Ninja, yeah, he said when he got married, he and his fiance, he and his girlfriend talked like a lot for a long time about whether or not to take a honeymoon. And they finally took like a 4-day honeymoon, and he calculated he lost 200,000 subs in 4 days. And I mean, it's, hang on, let me get around here, get the wipers turned off. Now, obviously for me, those numbers wouldn't be nearly as significant because my channel is so much smaller, but by percent, I think it could be the same. Right, so if I did go to Twitch, I might lose 10% of my channel, 100 subs. I'm just speculating. I don't know exactly what the numbers would be. And I don't know how long it would take to make those back up on the Twitch side. Ultimately, I think it is the best direction to go in. I'm just a little bit gripped about actually making the move. And because I don't self-promote, which is really ironic, since I work at, whoa, easy, sir. Since I work in business development, business communication, branding, marketing, that's what I do. I'm really good at doing it for other people, but I'm really reluctant to do it for myself. I think the difference is because I'm a consumer of YouTube and Twitch media, and I know what I like and don't like, I'm really hesitant to do things, even though I know they work. So there's nothing wrong with every time you start a stream, you know, hey everybody, welcome to the stream. Don't forget to smash that like button, right? Grab a link, grab a share in the description, throw it up on your Facebook, you know, all the things that streamers and YouTubers say. I think a lot of it is just static. We don't really notice it, you know, but personally, I don't like it. I'm just here for the entertainment, man. Don't start telling me about the sequel. Just start the movie. So for me, it bothers me, and that's why I don't do it, but I know it works. I know it works, and I know a lot of people really don't even notice it. Ooh, careful. They don't notice it, or I guess from another angle, it's sort of expected. You know, that it's fine that people do that because we're all trying to grow our own brand. But when I think about, you know, Instagram, because you're supposed to cross-platform, well, I've never had a Facebook account. I don't like Facebook. If it's not evil, it is, I think, the closest a corporation can be to evil without actually being evil. So, never had a Facebook account. Used to be on Twitter and Instagram. Got away from both of them. I felt like both of them were sort of toxic and also kind of time toilets. And that was a few years ago, and they've devolved since then. So Instagram now, it's just like everybody in the world making commercials for themselves. They are all their own brand. We are all our own brand. So if I got an Instagram, it wouldn't be because I have interesting, cool things to share with you, although I think I do. I hope I do. I take a lot of screenshots in game and try to make them look as good as possible. I got a whole folder full of, it's almost like a photography portfolio of images from inside games. I would love to share those, and I think Instagram would be a great place to do it. The problem is Instagram just feels so toxic to me now. So yeah, it's really rough. I mean, it was bad enough 5 years ago. Whoa, whoa, whoa. It was, why are we stopping? It was bad enough 5 years ago when it was just turning people into lunatics. But now that it's beginning to affect business and politics and the economy and consumer confidence and a lot of other things, yeah, it's too much. And I think of Facebook as, I think of Instagram as sort of Facebook light. You know, it's not much better. So I'm really reluctant to get an Instagram account just to promote the channel. That would be the only reason that I would get it. I would try to make it, sir. Oh, jeez. AI be like broken. Yeah, it's if I got an Instagram, if I got a Twitter, it would just be to grow the channel, and I worry that it would be completely transparent. It would be obvious what it was. Even if I'm posting really beautiful photographs and imagery from inside video games, which I would like to do, it would only be to grow the channel. And I don't know. I guess I want YouTubers and streamers to respect me more than they do. I can't control what they do, but I can control what I do. And so the next best thing is for me to respect you more than that, right? I mean, I would rather we all be friends who hang out and play video games together than for you to be my customers. You know, I don't want that. You can be my audience, but I don't ever want you to be my customers. So those are some of the reasons why I don't self-promote, and I guess it's a very long-winded answer to, you know, when I get Twitch, whenever that is, whether it's next week or next month or whenever, in order to grow the channel, grow the presence on Twitch, I feel like I'm going to have to self-promote, and I just really don't want to. I really don't. I would rather let it grow organically. Yeah, it is. And what's funny about virtually all social media platforms is, as onerous as they may make it for you to start an account and, you know, verify everything and verify your age and verify that you're not like a Russian spam bot or whatever, it's like it's a huge pain in the ass for people that actually want to start a real account, but Russian spam bots seem to go right through it. You know, I've heard that Twitter's true account population is about half of what they say it is. Because there are millions and millions of Twitter accounts that were formed, and within like 5 seconds of the account being opened, it followed one account. It doesn't follow anything else. That account follows one account. It retweets every single thing that account posts within seconds. Doesn't matter. 24 hours a day. It's like they don't have a day-night cycle where the person pretending to own that account lives. They're up 24/7. One account watches one account. It retweets everything that account does. So it's obviously a bot. And Twitter knows that. They can suss that out from the behavior. But they don't cull those accounts, because if they do, their user count would drop from 800 million to 400 million, and advertisers would expect a drop in rates consistent with that. You can't tell me you have 800 million people on your platform and I'm paying this, and then suddenly you have 400 million people on your platform and you expect me to pay the same? No, man. My audience, the potential for me to reach people was just cut in half. I want my rates cut in half. So yeah, they make it a huge pain in the ass for a citizen to start an account on these platforms, but the bots have no problem. What you gonna do? Oh, I know it, Ernie. Here's the problem. It's like the old Western movie. It's like the old Western movie where the preacher in the small town, the farmer in the small town who never talks about his past, right? And then the bad guys come to town, and the preacher goes to the bank and opens his safe deposit box and takes out his guns. That's his past, right? That's the thing he was trying to get away from. And I feel like the skill set that I have for marketing and communication, if I turned it loose to promote the channel, it would be effective, but I worry about at what price. You know, I do. Because I never want the channel to become a commodity. All right, Caden. Caden popped in and then popped out again. Oh, he's back. Hey, Caden, how you doing? So yeah, I don't know where it's headed. Pale Rider or Shane, as you prefer. But that's been in a bunch of other ones. Unforgiven. I think that was the same sort of theme. Bill Money just wanted to retire to his farm, put it all behind him. There we go. Lock in the cruise control, and we are good. Now, is that Toby or Tobby? All right, we're going to slide over here. I was watching Sacriel on Twitch the other day. He is gigantic. I think he had at one point last week, he had 50,000 people in his stream. It's absolutely massive. There's an estimate. Oh, it's not Social Blade. There's an aggregator that can sort of put together a streamer's stats and estimate what they're making, and they put him on about $1.7 million a year. I mean, he's obviously rich. He has showed pictures and video from his wedding. He's obviously wealthy. He's making some bank, but he's been doing this like 20 years. And he was talking with, I can't remember, another streamer. They were playing Tarkov together and chatting as they were murdering. And they both agreed if they were starting right now, the odds of them being successful were random. It would just be luck. They got into it it was a different era. There were a lot less people doing it. Now, they are extraordinary gamers. They are like the 1% of the 1%. So I love the game that we're in right now. I think I'm decent at it, I hope. But it's not really that kind of game, you know? So if you're here for the conversation, if you're here for the render, that's one thing. But as far as seeing, something extraordinary happen in the stream, probably not going to happen. But when you watch streamers like that, gamers like that, when you watch them playing PUBG or Fortnite or DayZ or Tarkov or something, they do amazing things. I think that sets them apart. But even that skill set, from back in the day when they were the first PUBG streamers, there were so few people doing it, it was a lot easier to stand out. So to hear them say, if I was starting a channel right now, my odds of success would be no better than even, no better than random chance, that's a little disheartening. And fortunately, I'm not trying to do this to get rich. But if I was trying to do this, if I was trying to do this for money, honestly, I would just cut together like Russian street fight bully beatdown videos and repost them as my own. My channel gets taken down, whatever. Just start another one. Do what the degenerates do. Just make meme videos, cruel practical jokes, terrible things. Those always get like 10 million views. But I don't know that I'd feel good about myself doing that. Oh, thanks, Ernie. I appreciate that. I think there's enough yelling in the world. I'm not a yeller. I'm very much about chill streaming. It's one of the reasons that I like the streamers that I like. The Rad Brad, always so chill, super, super positive. It's like when the guy's talking, you can hear him smiling. I really like that. Flinter, that plays Hunter Call of the Wild, just super, super chill. Also from Pennsylvania. Maybe it's something in the water. So yeah, there's enough chaos in the world. When I'm playing video games, I like everything to be nice and chill. Occasional moments of pure panic and terror, but that's more on the racing side, sometimes in flight sim. Man, when I was flying carefully, try to stay in the lane, there we go. When I was flying the other day off camera, it did sort of occur to me how so many of the sims on the channel, it's the view you have is exactly this right here. It's just slightly different as far as what instruments and controls we're looking at. Whether it's a truck, a train, a plane, a race car, or a tractor. We tend to have this like looking through the windscreen view quite a bit. The torque profiles, I feel like they're definitely different. It used to be, like on the ETS side, it was just the Volvo that really had no taper. The torque, the end of the torque curve was like hitting a wall. But the other trucks did seem to sort of wind down, right? Like they ran out of torque, but it didn't happen all at once. I feel like they've done some editing. It seems like more of the trucks now, when you get to the rev limiter, they just absolutely stop dead. They keep going right up to the rev limiter and then they drop off entirely. Could also be that, yeah, that could be it too, because I was running drivetrain revision on every truck and I pulled that out. So that could be it as well. Unknown. And I don't even see anything else as far as what's on my wish list or other titles that I'm looking forward to. I mean, I know it's the dead zone right now, and it's going to be dead. Nobody's going to release a new title, certainly not a big title in January, because everybody's broke. But there's nothing really on the horizon as far as titles. I think the next big drops are going to be late spring, early summer. And as always, so many of the titles that I play, they're either franchise titles, right? So we'll get F1 2021, we'll get WRC 10, things like that, MotoGP 2021. So we'll get franchise titles, and then we'll get DLC for Farm Simulator and the Truck Sims, and iRacing, and Race Room. So as far as new titles, I know Kerbal 2 got pushed back to 2022, which I really appreciate, I have to say, because I know Dead Stick is a title that's been on my wish list for a long, long time. The developers finally started getting some pushback from the audience saying like, hey man, why don't you move this out of coming soon? Because it ain't coming soon. So I appreciate that Kerbal, and they, I mean, to make a rocketry simulator, that seems like a labor of love. So I would suspect that the Kerbal developers are nerds, and nerds tend to be really kind of data driven. So if the best data they have says the game won't be done till 2022, that's how they're reflecting it in the estimated date. New SnowRunner DLC. Yeah, unfortunately, I had a I had a bit of a disagreement with Epic and told them to delete my account, and when they did, I lost SnowRunner, and it's an exclusive to Epic Game Store, so no more SnowRunner, unfortunately. I was willing to, it's the only title that I owned on Epic Game Store. I picked up some other stuff for free on there, Civ 6 and GTA 5, but my total investment on the Epic Game Store was, I don't know, $50, whatever I paid for SnowRunner with the season pass, but their customer service is terrible. Their app is terrible. It's spyware. The Epic Game Store is spyware. As soon as you load it up, it jacks into your Steam account and begins scraping all your information. That's nice. So, yeah, I told them to delete my account. Well, initially I asked them, how do I get rid of, because they had some bait and switch titles. They said they were giving away Bus Simulator, so I downloaded that, and it's the Bus Simulator livery editor. Well, all right, don't need that. And what was the other one? Postscriptum. Postscriptum was it was the scenario builder, not real Postscriptum. And emailed and said, hey, is there any way we can get these out of my library? I'm tired of looking at them. And they emailed me back and said, sure, you just go to the hamburger and then click on uninstall. And it's, I mean, you're a bot, you're an algorithm. You're not even a human being that read the email and understands what I want. So what's the next best way to get rid of it? And they said, just don't look at it. Not joking. That was the thing. Just don't let it bother you. So I told them to delete my account. And done with Epic. I really am happy to have that app off my hard drive. It's a nasty piece of software. Push pilot. It's called Dead Stick, and it's a flight simulator, but it focuses entirely on small propeller. It's hard to describe them. They're like sky trucks. They're very, very burly. They're designed for landing on very rough runways, very short runways. So all STOL and VTOL. And there's also an economic component to it, where you have to upgrade your aircraft. You can put bigger tires on it. You can do things, I believe, to like weatherproof it. And you're trying to make money. So it's got a bit of the, I guess the ATS aspect, where rather than just taking off, flying, and landing like you do in Flight Sim, you have some goals. There's some other things that you're trying to do. So yeah, that is Dead Stick, and it has been in development hell for a long, long time. Yeah, a lot of people are not a fan of Epic. It's the reason they give away so many games. They're trying to pull traffic over from Steam, and you know, it's like when the timeshare wants you to come and hear the presentation. You know, they got to offer you vouchers for the lobster dinner because they know nobody wants to hear a pitch for a timeshare condo other than people who are actually interested in buying one. So yeah, and you get your vouchers at the end. You got to sit through the entire presentation. That's what Epic Game Store reminds me of. Their titles aren't that great. Their prices aren't that great. Their app is terrible. So what can we do to get customers? I know, let's give stuff away. But I'd never installed Civ 6 or GTA 5. It was nice to have them, but I mean, you can get GTA 5 on Steam right now for $9 or something. But there's no reason for me to get it because at the moment I'm all stacked up on titles. Oh, our frame rate right through there was terrible. We're in the 30s. Come on. Yep, there we go. Back to 60. So we're in the Utah DLC right now. Yeah, some of these new DLC, I have to say, are not as well optimized. We are on 400% scaling, but some of the stutter and chug that we get, it really makes me concerned that SCS is maybe starting to cut some corners on these DLC. I hope not. I really hope not, because I believe in them. I think they're a solid company. I hope they keep doing good work. If it was another game on Epic, like if I had Truck Sim through Epic, I think I would grit my teeth and keep the Epic Game Store client on my hard drive and keep it running. But because it was SnowRunner and I was sort of, I don't know, SnowRunner seemed to be getting more and more challenging with every DLC, and it was beginning to have a bit of that Tarkov feeling, right? Like I'm not playing this game, I'm not enjoying this game, I'm just sort of surviving it. And that's not how I want to feel when I'm gaming. Yeah, I would say, Ernie, do your own research and take a look, but they have a reputation. And that's, as a marketing guy, as a branding guy, that is so frustrating for me because they have a perfect working model of what people expect a digital entertainment, digital gaming portal to look like. Seriously, all you need to do is just duplicate the functionality of Steam, give it a unique look, and then go out and start pitching to publishers to get exclusive titles. Don't reinvent the wheel, just do exactly what Steam is doing. I'm curious why they have gone in a different direction. And there are companies, I know there are companies that do this because I've worked with them, but there are companies in the Bay Area that will reverse engineer anything. You pay them a ton of money, tell them what product it is that you want, and they will find that product, whether it's a piece of hardware, software, code, website, whatever. They will analyze it and then break it down into the steps that you would need to go through to invent it yourself. And by pretending to go through those steps, I'm not kidding when I say this, sounds ridiculous. Well, it is ridiculous, but it's real. You go through those steps yourself, and then when you release your own version, you're somewhat protected from litigation for theft of intellectual property. Somewhat. Patents are a slightly different story. If you're trying to steal a patented product, that's a little bit harder. But for something like a website, you do get a bit of latitude. So if you were to essentially duplicate what Steam does in terms of functionality and code, and you got sued, your defense would be, carefully, your defense would be, hey, come on, you're selling things on the internet. That's not exactly unique. And you would try to get around it that way. But you would need to show that you went through the steps of creating it yourself rather than just cutting and pasting their code. So if Epic hired me and said, how do we compete with Steam? I would say, you cut and paste their code, but hire one of these reverse engineering firms to make it look legit. Just do what the company that is doing what you want to do successfully already. Just do what they're doing. Gonna have logging? Ah. Burnout on SnowRunner? Yeah, I feel you. I got burnt out on it. It started in Alaska. I have to say that road up it's a north to south road up the west side of the map, and I think it took about half an hour to go like a mile. And that was when I really began to wonder, like, what am I doing here? And I know you can move a little bit faster if you throw the winch out onto literally every tree and just more or less drag yourself across the map, but I don't know. I mean, I like when it's challenging. I like to solve problems, but this didn't feel like problem solving. It just felt grindy. And logging, I think the thing that I liked about SnowRunner more than MudRunner or Spin Tires was it had things to do other than logging. I was not a big fan of the logging in either Spin Tires or MudRunner. I really liked exploring, and I liked moving things around and having to, like the really complex jobs in SnowRunner where you need 2 of these, 6 of those, half a dozen of those, 4 of that, and take them all to either one place or different places. Is that the air race? Hang on. Those pylons right there. Yeah. So that's Vegas right there. Oh, let's get slowed down here. I think those pylons on the edge of Las Vegas are supposed to be for the air races. Yeah, Yukon was... I don't want to say last straw, but I just felt like they needed to maybe mix the maps up a little bit. Turn right, huh? So when you say turn right, you mean turn right. So right there. That's where we needed to go. Okay. We turn around here.
Keep right, and then keep left.
Keep right, and then keep left. I feel like we got lost in exactly the same place the last time we came through Las Vegas.
Keep left. Keep right.
I would like to see them mix up the maps in SnowRunner a little bit. I got the feeling, and this may have been something they thought about doing earlier, right? Like it was sort of part of the plan all along. Not a nefarious plan, I don't mean it like that, but an actual, sort of go-forward development strategy for the product. But I feel like they were tailoring the game to the most hardcore players. And as much as I love playing some titles, sort of binging on them, I find that I play a lot of different games so much that I don't really consider myself to be like an avid player. So something like SnowRunner, I just didn't play it enough to get super good at it. But a lot of developers, I feel like they're building their game for the people that, like, that is the only title they play. And there are people that, from the minute SnowRunner dropped, they just haven't stopped playing it. I mean, on Division 2, I'm level 600, and every level represents essentially one mission that you did. You typically get one level bump per mission. You get enough XP to level up once per mission. I'm level 600. The people that I'm playing with are like level 5,000. So they've been playing the game really again with the all right, we're gonna get through Las Vegas. We are. So those people that I play with on Division 2, they've been playing the game like 10 hours a day since the day it was released. I think one of them has a job, the others, I don't know. Ubisoft thinks those are fantastic customers, right? They love that type of customer. I think most devs do. Exit right, okay. But if that's who you're tailoring your game to, you may have to make the sort of conscious decision to not price people out. What's the word I'm looking for? By making the game what the most hardcore players want it to be, you're making the game less accessible to more casual players. And that was the feeling SnowRunner had for me. That it was getting so difficult for me and so grindy. And if you play the game 5 or 6 hours a day, maybe you think that's absolutely perfect. But for me, it was like, yeah, man, I have other things to do. I have other titles to play. I don't know. I mean, hang on. I gotta fast forward. I don't know why it keeps playing that one too. It's like the horror music song. All right, it's right through here. Now, in fairness, last stream we did, I spent 40 minutes starting an airplane. And I think to a lot of people, a lot of gamers would look at something like that and think, man, you're out of your mind. I'm going to go crazy from boredom here. Let's pull in here and sleep. Because we do need to. So let's go ahead and do this now. And it is 7 p.m., so we should wake up early morning. How are we going to get turned around here? Right over here? We can sleep sort of tucked right in here against this wall. If we're still in the trigger. Are we? We may not be. Hang on. Let's back up till we know we're in the trigger. So that's over here. Yep, we were out of the trigger. Okay. I mean, I don't want to stop right here. I feel like we're in the middle of the parking lot. There we go. Perfect. Neutral. Brake. Parking lights on. Engine is off. Let's get some sleep. Here we go. I think the main difference is a game like Truck Sim. Did we not just... Yeah, here we go. I think the main difference is a game like Truck Sim or even Flight Sim is you're trying to get to a level of essential competency, and from there, there's really nowhere to go. I mean, the game is still fun. I still think it's fun. Let's get my head out the window here. Mirror is right in the way. Right through here. Here we go. We good? And then As long as we don't scrape on the way out. Yep, we got it. Hype Bull Gamer, am I reading that right? Hang on. You're on my other monitor. I gotta lean way over. Hype Bull Gamer. How you doing, man? Welcome. So you get to a level of proficiency in something like this or something like Flight Sim, and there's really nowhere to go from there. After that, it's sort of failure only. You can't get any better at the game, but you can certainly make mistakes at it. But I think a lot of other titles, the learning curve is always there, and it's always possible to improve yourself. And when you see things like aim trainers, or you can get these illuminated reticles, crosshairs that fit over your monitor. I don't know if you've seen those. But for point shooting in FPS games, it's a clear, like, Lexan bar that fits over your monitor. And it has a little projected green crosshair on it. So if you want to point fire, if you want to hip fire, you just look where you want to shoot and then pull the trigger rather than trying to estimate where the center of your monitor is. And for things like PUBG, or is it this one? Hang on. I thought it was the next one. All right, it is this one. New DLC coming soon for what title, Hype Bull? Yeah, for those kinds of titles, I feel like you can continue playing them and you can continue improving really for as long as you want. And the games are also they're constantly evolving. You know, they're always changing the meta, adjusting the build, buffing this, nerfing that. Whereas the games that we play, the titles we play, tend to be a lot more static. Hang on, let me get rid of this.
Then turn left.
Get rid of, I said. There we go. So we want to go here.
Turn left.
And SnowRunner, I would say SnowRunner is somewhere in the middle. I mean, I do think there were some things that I could have still learned about SnowRunner that would have made me more competent. But the holes were the thing that I was beginning to get very frustrated with, the holes. And I would notice that as you were trying to go to some specific point where the scenario told you had to go, and it was obvious you couldn't get to it from this side, you couldn't get to it from that side, so you had to get to it by crossing the river. And there's a road on each side of the river, so there is a river crossing here. Okay, I'll give it a go, and you start to inch forward, and then you fall into a hole. And it's great that now you know there's a hole there and you can't go that way again.
Keep right, and then turn right.
Keep right, and then turn right. That's not right, my man. That's left. We needed to stay left and then turn right. Yeah, falling in the hole was doing my head in, because it was the only way to say it is it was trickery. They had set it up that way on purpose, and that's cool. The problem is now you know the hole is there, but it's going to take you an hour to reset everything and get back to that point. And the idea of doing something twice in a video game, it makes no sense that it's irritating. I really don't get that. You know what? I'm going straight here, because we need to get out of this cycle. I don't know why we continue to make the same wrong turn, but we're going to try something different. Doing the same thing twice in a video game really irritates me, and I don't know why. It does not make any sense at all, because you're always doing the same thing anyway. If it's the same title, sir, thank you. So something like a truck sim, right? We drive a route. We drive from one place to another place. It's a beautiful trip. We enjoy ourselves. Just as we get there, there's a game crash, and the last save game we have is 500 miles back, so we have to drive that 500 miles again. Yeah, so you're still just driving the truck, right? You're doing literally exactly the same thing that you were enjoying doing a little while ago. Why would it bother you to do it now? It doesn't make any sense, but I think it is real. It is like an actual thing. Let's get slowed down here. Same thing in Farm Sim. If you lose part of a save game and have to harvest the same field twice, well, what's the difference, right? If you weren't harvesting this field, you'd be harvesting the one next to it. They're all the same. What's the difference? I think it's just the idea of it. So having those sorts of setbacks in SnowRun are just really hard for me to deal with. I do think it's an amazing game. I think the draw distance on the map, the fact that you can look out from a mountain on one side of the map all the way to the other side of the map, the literal other side of the map, and you can not only see everything there, but you can see your own vehicles way far off in the distance. That is amazing. It's a fairly lightweight game. It runs super, super fast. I think it's a great accomplishment. I think it is definitely, in terms of the technical aspects of it, is definitely kind of a worthy successor to Spin Tires and Mud Runner. It's just the gameplay itself. I found, for me personally, just my experience, doesn't have to be yours, but from my experience, the gameplay just got way, way grindy. Las Vegas, exactly. My most favorite, least favorite place in the world. Yeah, exactly, Ernie. It doesn't make sense in a practical way, but I think most gamers do sort of feel the same way about it. Doing the same thing twice is just like nails on a chalkboard. And I was doing the same thing twice a lot in SnowRunner. I was falling in a lot of holes. My thing is, and I think this is running out of fuel. We could have got fuel at that fuel stop we just passed, but nah, that'd be too easy. My thing about game design is any challenge or difficulty, anything in a game that you're expected to overcome to get a feeling of accomplishment or success or to get loot, it's got to be skill-based. So anytime a game or anytime a developer within a game presents you with a problem or a challenge, there always has to be a skill-based solution. Something's happening right now. We're surging on FPS. Windows, what are you doing back there? Anytime there's a problem, there has to be a solution, and it has to be skill-based. If it feels luck-based, if it feels random, you don't get the proper release of dopamine, and that's why we're all here. We want that dopamine, that sweet, sweet dopamine. So, oh shit. Almost just rolled the truck. So when developers put traps on a map, which is cool, you know, I got no problem with that. Utah DLC dropped, I want to say earlier in 2020, or do you mean another DLC after that? So if you're going to put a problem in a game, there needs to be either a way to avoid it or a way to recover from it or something. There has to be some skill-based mechanism to impact the outcome. Because other than that, it really is just random chance. New map DLC for what game, Hypebull?
Turn right.
What title are you talking about? So right over here. I know Wisconsin is coming for SnowRunner, and Wyoming is coming for
Get ready to turn right.
ATS. But yeah, Utah for ATS has been out for a while.
Turn right.
Carefully. Wyoming, exactly. Looking forward to Wyoming. I hope that SCS is getting themselves together as far as the optimization. Late 2019? Wow, time is flying, man. Time is really flying. Past 4 or 5 years have gone by very quickly. All right. Now, we've had some chaos on this trip, but we haven't got any tickets yet. And we haven't taken any damage. We haven't hit anything. Had a couple of close calls. I feel like I need to, like, get myself together. Let's get through Las Vegas. And we'll be on our way. We might be a little bit late getting into Yuma, but not a big deal if we are. I thought the Utah DLC played really, really well. Idaho is when I first started to notice the problems. Now, in fairness, Utah has a lot more desert, and Idaho has a lot more trees. But then as we got into the Colorado DLC, that's when it really started to kind of present itself. Now, I do have SSAO. Oh, what do I have? I've got everything maxed out, and I feel like SCS is kind of learning their way through some of the new lighting that they're experimenting with, and I do have the scaling maxed out. So it could be just a question of dropping the scaling from 400 to 200 or something, and we would get all our FPS back. And the great thing about this game, this is going to sound terrible, but you'll get it. The great thing about this game is it never really looks that good, so you don't need to worry about it not looking good, right? It's not like you're turning down the graphics settings on The Witcher or something, Deus Ex. It's a, you know, it's a different kind of title. It's a different kind of game. All right, and we are, yeah, we're completely out of fuel. Somehow this happened again. I don't think we could get over to that fuel stop over there. We are very, very low. Nobby, what's happening? How you doing? Ah, there's fuel right here. Thank you, truck stop Jesus. Here we go. Right about in there somewhere. Beautiful. Oh, we really needed that. Okay, so set the brake. Windows down. Let's get some fuel going here. And let's see how empty we were. See how many gallons we take. Super, super low. Yeah, so we'll go through Las Vegas perpendicular to our previous shenanigans. See if this works out any better. I think our tanks are 240. Yeah, so we had about 35 gallons left. Okay. God, $550 for diesel. I don't know how accurate that is to real life pricing, but that'd be rough. Even if you knew you were going to make money on the job, paying $500 for fuel like once a day. All right, here we go. Good over there. And those, you can barely see. Let me see if I can pivot over here. Yep, see that overhead structure with those yellow hoses coming down? I know it went really, really quick. So I want to say about 5 years ago. A little bit longer than that. Maybe 10 years ago. There was a company that had done some research on the amount of diesel used by idling trucks and the amount of self-isolating due to a stupid app telling me I've been in contact with someone who tested positive for COVID. Please don't crash reading my small essay. Oh, no worries. I had to stop behind this, what is that, a Hyundai? In real life, running a diesel engine out of fuel is really bad. Interesting. All right. Sir, need to get a move out here. Nobby, that sucks, but you're doing the right thing. All right, now it is definitely your turn now, sir. Come on. There you go. And I did turn the spawn back down to 1. Uh-oh. Truck's getting very big in our rearview mirror there. So this company figured out the amount of fuel and what truckers were spending. So they came up with this thing, and they've installed it at a bunch of truck stops. But it's basically a little stall you put into, and then over on your passenger side window, there's this bracket that fits into it. It's got air coming in, either warm or cool, depending on the season. It's got exhaust air going out. It's got USB ports. It's got internet. It's got power ports. You can plug things into it. And if you've got a heater block, you can also plug your truck in overnight to keep your block warm. But you don't need to run your truck all night. And I thought that was a fantastic idea. I love solutions like that, right? Where rather than just telling people, okay, you can't do this anymore. All right, great. Can't do it. Do you have an alternative? Nope. Just don't do it anymore. I love seeing creative ideas like that. Fuel system has to be primed in order for it to fire the engine. Right, so diesel, diesel has to be fuel injected? Is that how that works? You can't carburate diesel because of the thickness of the fuel? I don't know. There's a lot of objects in the sky. I think there's a UFO that you see occasionally. I know you see some jets in Nevada. The western part of Nevada, there's a lot of like little crop duster planes, and
Go straight
on the ETS side, it seems to be more big jets at airports. All right, so we are not going to exit for Vegas. We're just going right through. Right, I got that part, but as far as getting the fuel air mix into the cylinder, I seem to think that all diesel is fuel injected. There's no carbureted diesel, is that correct? So we go straight here. Yeah, I thought so. So everything has to be pumped in and pressurized. So if your pump goes dry, you got no more. Right. Okay. So that's why you gotta keep the whole fuel system wet and pressurized. Ooh. But then once your cylinder walls are warm enough, the glow plugs turn off. Right, and when you compress, you drive the ignition temperature down below the temperature that the cylinder walls are, and it self-combusts. All right, I think we made it this time. 4 missed exits in one city could be a record for me. Gotcha. Rudolph Diesel had just about perfected an engine that ran on peanut oil when he had his mysterious accident and got to sleep with the fishes. I don't believe in conspiracy theories. People are not good at keeping secrets. They don't know how to do that. So I don't really believe in conspiracy theories, but I do think Rudolph Diesel's death was, coincidental. All right, we made it. We're on our way. For a base game truck, I know it's one of the newer base game trucks, but I think this sounds amazing. It sounds a lot better than the original sound recordings that they did for like the Peterbilt and the Kenworth in base game back in 2016. These sound a lot better. I have to reprime the system. I mean, is that? Do you have to bleed it? I mean, do you have to get into the fuel rail and draw the fuel up from above? I was thinking like VW and Audi and contemporary, like citizen vehicles, where people might make the mistake of letting their car run out of fuel. Like, how would they get back to running, or would it be a whole process? Hand primer, right on. All right, made it to Arizona. Oh, we just went across. We don't drive across the Hoover Dam anymore. We drive across the new highway bridge they put in. Okay, so they do run like a multiple pump system. We may be on time. I didn't look when I picked this up whether or not it was like a critical timing delivery. I haven't seen the warning yet, but we'll see if we get this in on time. We may. Yeah, this type of scenery has got to be easier than some of the really forested areas in the new DLCs. Gameplay, this is American Truck Simulator. And we just drove from the Idaho DLC to the Utah DLC, and now we're in Arizona, which is part of the base game map. We've got the truck and trailer stability turned just about down to 0. Some of these turns, they're not marked as anything less than the speed limit, but we really get light on the inside wheels going through some of these. Oh, yeah, that's fair. I'll own that. That was me. Cheap truck. I mean, I don't know about that. I really like the Anthem. I think this is, at the moment, my favorite game, my favorite truck in the game. Really pleased with the way this turned out. I like the configurations as well. I hope they bring in a sleeper for the 49X. All right, now you tell me, does that look like a cheap truck? I don't know, man. I think that looks pretty good. Oh, this guy. Oh, Nope. So we slide right back in here. Beautiful. How many can I miss? Theoretically, all of them. But I don't know. We got to get there at some point. Yeah, Arnie, the thing I like about this truck is it does look sort of old school. It's got that kind of 1950s, maybe 1970s look to it. I think they did a really good job with it.
Keep right, then turn right.
Without going too far over the top and making it like a parody. You know, like a meme truck or something. Yeah, I think that looks all right. Very utilitarian. The only thing I know in Kingman, Arizona is the Cattleman's Bar. And if you're imagining, if you're picturing in your head right now what the Cattleman's Bar in Kingman, Arizona looks like, that's exactly what it looks like. You are 100% correct in your estimate of it. That's the place.
Right.
All right, I'm just gonna, I mean, we can do this, can we not? We don't believe in traffic circles in America. We just, making a right turn on red is as far as we're willing to take it. Let's see if this guy lets me over. Yes. Beautiful. I missed most of mine. Discover most of the map on your first delivery. Yeah, it's not quite that bad. I don't know. I mean, I don't want to blame it on the sat nav, but it's completely the sat nav's fault. So, I mean, I'm just saying it can be a little confusing at times. I've seen people do this on the YouTubes. I've seen people do this with no sat nav and no minimap, no nothing. They strictly navigate by road signs. All right, and I think we don't have too far to go. Yeah, I hear you. It's a very, very relaxing game. And I think in real life, particularly in the Western US, you have so much longer between exits and turns. You really can just absolutely zone out for like 20 minutes at a time, and you're not going to miss a turn. There are no turns. Welcome to California. Wait, what? Thought we were going to Yuma, Arizona. Has there been... Did I miss a meeting? What's happening right now?
And then exit right.
Yuma. No, we're okay. So we went into California. And now we're going back into Arizona. All right.
Turn left.
All right. Now what happens? Who's he? He's waiting for him. Is anybody over here? Nope. So we can start creeping. All right. Now everybody's. I don't get the AI. It's either way too courteous or way too aggressive. See a lot of the new Mac Anthem. think this came out maybe 2 years ago. It's fairly recent as far as I know. And oh, right on. And then the Western Star is that was just released this year, this past spring, was it not? I'm surprised more truck companies aren't using this as an advertising platform. Right, just give SCS, rather than SCS paying to license your product into the game. Right on, Nobby. Rather than SCS paying to license your product into the game, just let them license it in for free. And get the advertising, get the exposure. I don't know why hotels in Las Vegas wouldn't drop a little coin to have their real hotel represented in-game. Or advertising on billboards, or, I mean, it seems like maybe there's a reason they're not doing that. It could be because the game goes out all over the world. Once you buy a copy, the developers have no idea what country you're going to be in, so, you know what I mean? Like adjusting the rates and having it be a good value to the company that was paying for that product placement. I don't know. But it seems like that would be something you'd want to do. Alright, and for some reason, we're back to 55. I think because we're in California. Momentarily. Oh, that pop in. I mean, it's a great game, but it's not a perfect game. So this is us now back into Arizona. So 29 Palms is definitely California. Whoa, stop sign. All right. They've all got stop signs too. Okay. Base game physics are good enough now. I'm really not missing drivetrain revision. I feel like a couple years ago, base game physics was ragged enough that maybe you did need those mods, but the trucks just seem to feel better now. They pull better. They have a nice feeling of weight to them. I don't know if this game would ever get to a place where I wouldn't run any mods at all, but it feels like it gets better every patch. Well, I would hope that it would, but you know what I mean. Right through there. It's too bad that it is built on that 20-year-old engine, because I just don't know how much longer they can keep the game looking good on Prism 3D. At some point, they're going to have to switch it over to something else. And as far as them putting it onto Unreal or something, I don't know if that's possible. Between the time and expense, and also what it would do to, you know, the way people play the game as far as what systems they can play it on. Like they brought in DX11, they brought in Fmod. Those are big changes, but they're not as big as porting your title over to an entirely new underlying architecture and engine. That's a really big deal. Costs a lot of money to do it, so to be able to push that out as an update rather than a new title. The main thing is the DLC. All the money that people have invested in DLC in this game if they released a new title and you had to buy it all again. I really do wonder. Yeah, it's Prism 3D is this game's blessing and its curse. I mean, it's why the game runs so well on old systems, because it's an old engine and it really isn't very demanding. But that's also why the game looks, every year it looks more and more dated.
Then turn left. Turn left.
But as far as how to fix that, it's like they have no good options. They can either just continue to build on the game on Prism 3D, knowing that at some point it's going to completely age out, or they can release a new title. I don't know how they would handle the DLC, or they can try to come up with some kind of hybrid where they port the game to a new engine but keep everything, right? Keep it the same title, release it as a patch, don't make people buy it again. It's like there's no good answer. So I don't know what they're going to do. They could have some workaround that I haven't considered that would be absolutely amazing and satisfy all the goals. And I mean, if they released the game again, if they released ATS 2 or ETS 3 or whatever, and it was $60 for the title, came with base map, and you immediately had to start buying mods and DLC again, if they were releasing at the same rate, I think I would be okay with that. So $50 for the title, and then, all right, back in Arizona. So $50 for the title, and then 10 or 12 or 15 for the DLC, and we'll do that maybe 2 times or 3 times a year. Yeah, that's fine. That's sort of the same schedule that we're on now. And I think it would sting a little bit the first time you had to buy Scandinavia for the second time. But the new Scandinavia would be, what, because ETS was released in 2012. So Scandinavia was released in like 2013. So if they released the new Scandinavia, just hypothetically, release the new Scandinavia for ETS 3 next year, you're talking about a DLC that's 8 years more current. So you're not buying the original Scandinavia DLC again. You're buying a whole new one. And I think I'd be okay. It would sting a little bit, but ultimately, it is a different product. But I don't know. I hope they don't drop the ball. I do worry. And I think my biggest concern is that they will take on an investor and destroy the franchise. Turn it into PUBG, where we're all looking for loot boxes or paying $9.99 to wear a Santa Claus hat and swim fins or something. And it just completely ruins the feel of the game. I don't think that's likely. I think they're making enough money. I hope they're making enough money that they can continue to grow independently and not need an investor. But to take on an investor, I think, is such a risk. Because once you get in their pocket, that's what they say. Once you get in their pocket, you're never getting out. And now you make the game the way they want you to, rather than the way your fans want you to. But time will tell, I guess. We'll see how it all works out. And I think, getting to Yuma, as long as we're on time, even with all those missed turns, as long as we're on time, I will call this a successful trip. All right, here we go. Quartzite and Yuma. Beautiful.
Exit right. Get ready to turn left.
And it's just getting to be evening. It's a little after 4 p.m. local time, so that's perfect. So we didn't do a whole lot of driving tonight, a little bit to start with. All right, let's get down to first here. Yeah, same, Ernie. But it's hard to say. You know, it's running a company with 200 employees is its own skill set.
Turn right.
And I know I've worked with clients that, you know, they might be a 10 or 12 person operation doing 2 million a year, and I ask them what their growth goals are, and they say, well, they'd really like to be at, you know, 25 million a year with 100 employees. And it's, you know, what are your plans when that happens? And they say, well, we'll just do the same thing but bigger. And it's like, no, man, that's not how economies of scale work. You know, if that was the case, you could have a bumblebee as big as an elephant and it would have no problem flying. Things get different when they get bigger. Everything changes when things get bigger. So for them to grow from 8 employees to 200, I've heard, in 6 years, 7 years, that's a really big jump. Running a company with 200 employees is not easy.
Turn right.
Yeah, it looks great, but what I'm reading really consistently, no ticket. Yep, we're just going to creep right through there. That's right. I'm reading a lot of people very concerned that it will impact performance. Let's find a good gear here. That it's going to impact performance, and that's been such a hallmark of the sim for so long that really anybody who wanted to could play it. Yeah, exactly, Ernie. A lot more at stake. You owe a lot more money to a lot more people. And I mean, you can do a handshake deal for 50 grand, but you can't do a handshake deal for 5 million. That's a lot of due diligence, contracts, attorneys, accountants, escrow, everything else. And if you can't pay that money back, it's not like you can just call your buddy up and say, hey, I need another month. I don't know where exactly Yuma is. Apparently it's not close to anywhere. I feel like we've been circling it for like the past 40 minutes. We are getting closer. We have to be. But we've been in Idaho, Utah, Arizona, then California, now back in Arizona. When I lived in Mammoth, the guy that runs the resort, guy that runs Mammoth Mountain, his name is Rusty. I don't know. Hard to trust a person named Rusty. But Rusty renegotiated the loan for the mountain with Wells Fargo and got a very, very, very favorable interest rate, but it was contingent on like 90% occupancy, which is something that banks typically add to a loan agreement with resort properties, because the only way they get paid is if you're running your resort properly and you keep the place full. So they had requirements for occupancy. And of course, it's a ski resort, so you're dependent on the weather to some extent. There was a lot of concern that Rusty would be able to keep the resort at that occupancy number. So he struck a deal with Alaska Airlines that they could fly people from Los Angeles to Mammoth, flying out on Friday, returning on Sunday for $49.99. And depending on fuel prices and everything else, the mountain would pick up the difference. The expectation would be that, sure, we'll spend a couple $100 to pay for the difference on this ticket, but if we can entice people to come here for $50, they'll spend much more than we spent on the ticket in the 2 or 3 days that they're here in town. It sounds great, but it's all these what ifs, right? Well, what if we agree to these ridiculous occupancy numbers in return for a low interest rate? Well, what if we can't meet them? Well, what if we prepay airline tickets from LA to Mammoth so we can keep the town full? Well, what if it doesn't snow? And the biggest what if is if occupancy numbers fell below 90% for an extended period of time, Wells Fargo would essentially own the mountain, and then they would sell it to Vail Resorts. And end of story. And Vail Resorts has had their eye on Mammoth Mountain for a long, long time. So all those little moving pieces in a deal, it's easy for us as consumers, I think, to forget all the things that are happening behind the scenes, and that every time Verizon offers you a deal on a smartphone or something, to think about all the people whose future with the company is riding on that. Combine harvester, beautiful. So I'm really hoping that SCS continue to make good decisions and this franchise continues to be the one that we love as much as we do, and it doesn't go off in some weird direction. Hang on, let's look from above. That is, yep, I thought it was. Little center pivot irrigation. All right, and it's now going on 6. All right. This is us right up here, I think. Another combine harvester. And I think this is us. Yep.
Turn left.
I think we might even be on time. I have not seen the customer expects delivery very soon. Now, it's possible that that message was delivered while we were asleep, and we're going to be like 25 hours late and make no money.
Get ready to turn
But
left.
let's hope for the best here.
Turn
Get some
left.
windows down.
We are finished.
We are going... Yep, this is the one that's behind the little trailer. Yep. So if we go around this way... Yeah, I think we want to come at it from the other side. So if we go around this way, we need to kind of sneak it past that little two-wheel trailer right there. About right. That's about right. Oh, and we're just falling asleep too? Perfect. If we had to sleep a third time, well, we may or may not already be late, but if we had to sleep a third time, I think we would definitely be late. No steering axle here in America, so we can jackknife this thing in right at the last second. I mean, straighten it out a little bit. I'm triggered. There we go. It's a little better. All right. Neutral. Set the brake. Parking lights on. Windows down. Engine off. Let's see how we did. Oh, I have a feeling we're super, super late. Let's see. Oh, not late. 55 grand and 2,700 XP. How about it? Right on. We're going to level up next trip, I think. All right, and where are we at? We're coming up on 2 hours. Let's go ahead and call it. And we'll do Western Shore tomorrow. I spent all day today emptying out the silage in the pit just below field 9.5. So tomorrow hopefully we can harvest those soybeans. But we'll get something done. So yeah, let's call it for now. Come back tomorrow, Western Shore, and then the day after, I don't know, maybe X-Plane again. Figure something out. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for stopping by. You're awesome. I do appreciate you. See you tomorrow. Good night.